#Yom first. DTPS. www.reddit.com. #Defisjacta. Comments K7Kick. The last human on. Pref. At DTEs. www.com. Reddit.com. RHF. Height. Comments. 1 Epiras. Delu 1. 19. Dart. H. SF. Ektik. When very more than wake new. PA 20th time his hair fell out. Poire molested all of it with a sharpened geode. He'd been so consumed by watching that he simply had not cared. The vision of Anu consumed his thoughts. More than once he'd climbed the tower to follow where the old man had gone, but even with concrete support beams and a chair he morphed from the stone of the tower itself, Poire had not managed to pass through the stained glass ceiling to find him, or to find wherever the old man had gone. Maybe the old man was right. Maybe he was the last human left, trapped in this strange, twisted universe that broke all the rules. "You've been at it again, haven't you?" He growled at his reflection, boots clumping on the stone. Each step thudded, echoing in the cavernous room. "Look at you. You're a walking corpse." "Wah." His hands trembled. Not with weakness this time, with anticipation. Anu's connection to Poire's universe was failing. Turning its vast branches had grown difficult. But for how long would that last? A month? A year? Less? Would the humans they had inadvertently separated find a way to get around the monastery to repair the dams? It was inevitable, once they saw how Anu was reacting to them. His systems crashed. Poire fell to his knees, face pressed against the stone floor. Every inch of his skin buzzed. Every nerve shrieked. The pain was unlike anything he'd ever felt. He screamed until his throat was raw, until the agony bled away into trembling exhaustion. What happened? What? He fought to roll onto his back, moaning. His mind felt stretched out over a railing, only one hand grabbing onto the safety. Falling. It changed, he realized. Anu changed. It changed while I was watching. It saw itself through my mind. The branches were still bent towards the dying scar, but they were now thinner, more flexible, branching smaller and smaller, seeking new pathways into his universe. And when the previous course failed, new branches, smaller branches, shot out in every direction, probing for any crack, any opening, any weakness in the human's light dams. It was learning. Adapting. "Oh?" Divensta. Weary, Poire raised his head. Water trickled down the corners of his eyes. His body wanted to give up. He was bone-tired. And yet, the last human remained stubborn. He forced himself to his feet and hobbled to the pool. He sat on the edge, staring into his own reflection. His face, different from the last time he'd truly looked. Tears rolled down sunken cheeks. Poire cursed himself. He'd disappeared from Sanborn's life for years, lost in the pools, growing old, searching for answers that he could not see even as Anu consumed more and more universes in front of him. Should have stayed, he thought. I should have warned them. One ride. It was a dream. I had a dreaming. No dying. He took a deep breath, a tremble in his chest, wiped the tears with the back of his hand, forced himself up to his feet again. "Never mind," he whispered. "It's time to go back. I follow when you can." The old man's words echoed in his mind. Poire looked up at the crumbling tower. He waved a hand. The cracked stone smoothed over. His other hand, moving in fluid arcs through the air, rebuilt the spiral staircase before he even reached it, as if he were painting in the colors of reality itself. He was still learning the limits of his powers, or lack thereof. Even as he redid the stairs, personalizing them with wooden railings, altering the rate at which they curved, he couldn't move fast enough to make them permanent. Every detail won him partial immortality. He left a cairn of smooth rocks at the top, where the pathway to the surface disappeared into the carmine-colored sky. He placed the final stone on top. Sanborn will be 9. Tomorrow he had missed, forgetful in the tyranny of past visions. "It's been a while, kid," he said, staring at the mark. Let's go home. Poire took one last look north, in the direction where he'd seen the glinting black tendrils of Anu brush against his sky, leaving shimmering wounds of light that dimmed and faded as they traveled across the painted firmament. Wounds that were his fault. Kai made that happen. He felt an ancient guilt, a distant echo of responsibility he'd felt for the giant's death, amplified by an unknown factor. Maybe Sanborn was right. Maybe Igimom did cause of all this. But what if Sanborn was wrong? What if the complexity of this new, impossible universe had simply happened, directing them all where they needed to be? Either way, there was no more time for contemplation. Poire closed his eyes and focused his mind on the mountain where he first met Lust. The mountain where a mysterious woman with skin like marble and a white, serpentine tail had emerged from the snow. He concentrated, sensing the vast dimensions of this universe like sackcloth slapping against his mind, searching for that one point, one impossible location on the mountainside that didn't make sense. He felt the cold air hit his face before he saw it. Before he adjusted, there she was, an intruder in the vast expanse of white. She was running. Wait. No, don't. She was flying. What is she doing? Nest. A dark three-head colossus lumbered down the mountain, sending plumes of extinguished snow and sheared rock behind. Poire's feet found the snowpack. He tilted his head. The mountain seemed brisk foreign now, like a dream remembered. He watched Lust, fresh-faced and terrified, dodge and weave around the frozen landscape, 5 enormous paces to each of the beast's lumbering steps. He remembered this day. The woman from his vision, she had turned the beast into a new creature using his light? Exo, it was true. Sanborn was there. Muspop was there. This is how it started. Wow, then there. No? Poire breathed. No, Dottie. I was too late. Ugh. Then the female hereditor turned. Poire thought his heart would stop. Her eyes were glassy with fear, but they landed directly on him. For a moment, they locked. Across the distance he tickled on his own senses. Their gazes crossed millennia. Unerringly, she pointed at him. The tendril-like tongue of the creature snapped towards her. Poire screamed a wordless roar, his heart pounding. She tucked one arm in close, the other thrust forward. The creature's tongue grew crystalline, froze in midair and shattered. Lust sent a massive chunk of ice-a-foot of ice, saunters into its skull, cracking it open like a ripe melon. Poire blinked. He unclenched his fists, his skin already returning to his normal coloration. She used mirror. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw the chaos himself. The air of nations twisted together. Smooth skin and terrible scars. A flicker in those obsidian eyes as Poire drew it. Udin's gaze locked onto him with electric recognition, and he breathed, "You?" The world went silent, as if a massive external sound had simply shutting off. The croaked, with something resembling awe, "You're finally back." Poire felt a strange sensation. A familiar echo of a lost memory, returning home to roost on his shoulder. It had been so long, he had almost forgotten him. Proximal and desperate, leaning over a snow-swept pass. The ancient armored barrier that separated the Canavans from the outside world. Beautiful and strange alien creatures, their alleywend whispering behind him. Fear. Hope. This wasn't a dream. Hudin's voice landed in the dead space between them. This is your purpose. Zavas. Hey! The world came screeching back into Poire's ears. He stumbled, dizzy. I don't know how. No, then. The sound of shattering ice rang through the cold, crisp air. Just believe, Udin whispered, his voice thready and distant. Believe you're not alone. The hereditary court conjuvenator pats her hand. The power of a universe hums for just a moment, shimmering around her, with the final explosion of crystal, like a raindrop tie on explosive news. And Poire stares, as if for the first time ever, at a stranger. She won't understand, he says to himself, watching Muspop force his foot to move, then the other. No one will. What was that? Anger. The visceral happiness of familiarity and purpose. The realization that his dearest friends, though he'd never met most of them or had forgotten all of them, had been waiting for his return for what seemed like an eternity. That Sanborn had been carrying him, hope and death, in his wake, across his dreams, for all these years. Finally, he was here. Poire took a ragged breath. His shoulders straightened, no longer bent by the weight of his own ignorance. He turned his eyes to the passage, to the future and the past, to the miracle of his friends. He inserted the massive square mirror into the ether, its flat face just barely angled towards Poire. Look beyond. There are those who have been waiting for you. Down. Sanborn didn't question. He simply stepped forward, moving his amorphous body into a new form. Tall and towering, her legs no longer bound. Her wings extended, the scale pattern becoming the shape of majesty itself. She leaned forward, placing her face against the mirror's surface. Her 9 eyes, arrayed around her skull, held firm for a long, silent moment. From her lips formed a solitary word, a silent command carried by air and will alone, a day call. Waslubar, Irani Chetidi, Uptubo, Upstektaboa, Awonaye. On the other side, thousands of miles away, Miss Ludmages felt her tongue try to form the syllable. It pushed against her teeth as if it were made of tar. But the words flowed from her then, through the caravans and their want, to the conclave as a physical force. A storm of light hovered in the alien sky. Said words formed and hummed inside her mind. "This is impossible," she whispered. "Excuse me for a moment," my friend said. "Could you please repeat that?" "Voice." "Just keep trusting," Poire said, turning to Sanborn with a smile. "Just keep believing." In the distance, huddled together, every member of Sen and Houden's incomplete court felt the call. "Do you suppose—" Houden began. "He's back," Sen said, a slight tremor in his voice, the first momentary break in his poised demeanor. His bare feet dug into the cold tile floor of the observation station. Everyone turned to look at him. Sin turned his pointed, bearded face toward Sen's, his eyes alight with an unreadable emotion, but clearly hopeful. Sin, galactically authority from the cloud season, raised a finger to his lips, but the action seemed less of a request for silence and more a gesture to hold his breath. "It's about time," spoke last, her horn-capped face bright with a knowing smile. The last surviving steward observer, her silver brightness seemed to pulse in the dim light. "I told you so long ago." "Told us what?" Houden asked, his voice thick with hope and disbelief. "That he wouldn't abandon those he loves." She turned her multi-pupiled eyes back to the screen, her focus unwavering. "And now is the time for his return." Her tail gave a gentle, approving flick against the polished deck. "Sensing," Poe phrased, her voice more confident now. "I think I see it." He said to look further. He meant, look deeper, into the light itself. The strange energy formation could be seen clearly now. It was changes across the structure of their reality. Anu was searching for weakness, and Miss Ludmages stepped back, letting young Sanborn, the strongest of all that remained of the scars, who was not Sen, forward. Then, trailing her own spectators through the dimension-jagged space between universes, flinging ontological bizarre weaves of toxic energy, and delivering the final brutal hit of serpentine determination, the court complete.